Hello, this is Coach Wilson, and this is Chapter 8, Section 2. Today we're going to continue our lesson on state government, and we're going to pick up a little bit more with North Carolina state government today. The first thing we're going to talk about is the North Carolina General Assembly. Okay, their responsibility for North Carolina is they make laws for our state. We would consider this kind of like the legislative branch of the United States government. And in North Carolina, we have the House of Representatives and the Senate, which is pretty similar in most states. Both the House and senators of the state serve 2-year terms, and they do not meet for the entire year. Sessions can last for lengthier or different lengths of time. I believe it's even years, it's actually shorter than it is in odd years, which makes a lot of sense. Odd years tend to be the years that there is no re-election process, and even years tend to be the year that we're voting on new members. Okay. All right. In the House of Representatives, we have 120 members. You must be 21 years or older in order to be considered or voted in. And we call the leader of the House of Representatives in North Carolina Speaker of the House. Now, I want to take a second and give you just a little bit from your text. All right, we're going to go ahead and move ahead. I'm going to go through this NC Senate and I'll come back to what I want to read you. In the Senate, we have 50 members in our state. You must be 25 years or older to serve in the Senate. Okay, so going backwards here, remember 21 years old or older in the House of Representatives, 25 in the Senate. The leader of the Senate tends to be the Lieutenant Governor or the person that is President pro tempore, which is generally the most senior senator, which is put into place. And your book talks about here, that I want to read this little section. In most states, the Lieutenant Governor presides over the Senate. In other states, the Senate chooses its own presiding officer. Members of the lower house in all states choose their own presiding officer, usually called the Speaker. As in the U.S. Congress, most of the work in state legislatures is done in committees that specialize in certain areas such as agriculture or budget. In the upper house, committee members are chosen by the presiding officer or by all the upper house members. In the lower house, the Speaker usually has the responsibility of appointing committee members. Seniority often plays a key role in determining committee membership and leadership. Okay, so essentially between the House and the Senate, we break up a lot of these issues that they're going to be deliberating over and trying to create laws for by putting them into various committees that discuss the issue. Okay. And real quick, I want to go through just kind of the process at the state level. First of all, a bill is introduced. A member of either house may introduce a bill and is given a number. Okay, then the bill is sent to a committee. That committee will then bring in various witnesses to discuss the issues for and against the bill. The bill then will reach the floor, and if the committee approves, the bill is returned to a full meeting of the House. Okay, so essentially we start there in the House of Representatives of the state. The bill is then sent to the second House or the Senate. Just depends on where it starts. When the bill is introduced in the second House, it is sent to another committee. If the bill survives the committee, it's sent back to the floor of the second House. Here is debated and can be amended again and then put to a vote. Bills that pass one House and fail in the second are dead. If both Houses pass a bill and the same floor is then sent to the governor to sign. Frequently, though, both Houses pass the bill, but in different forms, and the case is sent to a joint conference committee to resolve differences. Okay. Once the bill is sent to the governor, he has the power to veto. In most states, the governor only has power to veto one part or an item of the bill. And this is called an item veto. The legislature can pass a bill over the governor's veto by a 2/3 vote. Okay. Your book also went into some stuff that I want to make sure that you guys get with your vocabulary, talking about initiative, proposition, referendum, and recall, just some terms to be familiar with there at the end of section 2. All right, last slide we're going to go over today is section 3, and we're going to kind of condense this all into one slide. I know it's a lot, but we're going to try to get this done. In the NC executive branch, our governor is Roy Cooper. Okay, he serves in the state role as the president serves in the national role. And our former Lieutenant Governor was Dan Forrest. Our current Lieutenant Governor is actually Mark Robinson. But generally, they serve a 4-year term, and they are limited to 2 consecutive terms. Okay. You also must be 30 years of age. Okay. So following this 4-year term, Governor Cooper will be out as our governor. Okay. A couple things just to think about. I want to go through. Let's see. Your book went through Lieutenant Governor and their responsibility. He becomes the head of the government if the governor dies, resigns, or is removed from office. We also have the position of Secretary of State, Attorney General, State Treasurer, State Auditor. Okay, and we've talked about Attorney General, Secretary of State, and Treasurer. Secretary of State's responsibilities differ in that this official is responsible for essentially keeping up with state records, carrying out election laws, things of that nature, versus in the case of a Secretary of State in the national government or the federal government, they're responsible for foreign affairs, etc. The state treasurer obviously is responsible for the state funds, and then the state auditor, as I was getting ready to mention, they ensure that no public funds from the state treasury are used unless the payment is authorized by law, as well as they usually cannot pay any bills without a written order that is signed by a state auditor. So a treasurer has to have an auditor in order to do anything, as well as they essentially call that a warrant, and the auditor also regularly examines the state's financial records to make sure they are correct. Right? So essentially they serve the same role as an auditor for the IRS would. So someone that looks over your taxes and ensures that everything you are doing is legal. Now, some responsibilities of the executive branch. Okay, first of all, they're responsible for carrying out the laws, power over the budget, in charge of the National Guard, making decisions, schools, businesses during COVID pandemic. Okay, we've seen much more of the power of the governor in the last probably year than what we ever knew prior to this point in our lives. Okay. But like I said, they are responsible for controlling the state police and the militia. They can even pardon criminals and grant reprieves for the state. And they just have quite a few responsibilities as governor of the state. So we're going to leave it there. Hopefully you got a little bit of something out of today's notes. If you need any help or you're struggling, please let me know. Make sure you're keeping up with your vocabulary. If you don't need anything, look forward to talking to you soon. Have a great day.